Welcome to the Central Connecticut Intergroup TV podcast. I'm Eric. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Eric.
And I've asked Peter to read the preamble for us tonight.
Peter Alcoholic.
Hi, Peter.
AA's preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other. They may solve their common problem and help others recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for a membership. We are self-supporting for our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Not engaged in any controversy. It neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober, help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety.
And tonight we have Charlie is going to share his experience, strength, and hope with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm Charlie. I am an alcoholic.
Hi,
Charlie.
And I'm always privileged to be able to speak about my experience, strength, and hope with alcoholism. And I can tell you that in 1976, my parents were having a big bicentennial type New Year's Eve party. And I was 9, and I thought they were having so much fun, and the kids upstairs weren't. And when I went down to get an orange soda, I poured orange soda, but then I just took gin, and I poured it in mine. And my friend upstairs, I went upstairs, and I'm like, smell mine. She's like, ew, that's disgusting. And it was, but as we know, that I, at age 9, something was, a little off. Maybe I just, felt like I didn't quite fit in already or something. But I drank that, and it was gross. But I felt something. And thankfully, I didn't. The progression of the illness didn't kick in right away. But then it was, I would drink again and again over the next few years. But in that same year, I was pulled out of the third grade classroom, and I had a test out in the hallway, and in determining in that test that my eyes weren't that good. But I had no other brother and sister who also didn't have good eyesight. So it wasn't anything that we weren't aware of, but there was no solution back then. So we got in the car, and we were told to go to Mass Eye and Ear in Boston, and in my first visit there was a long weekend of looking at the eye, and they sat us down, and 4 out of the 6 children, my brother and 2 sisters and myself, were diagnosed with juvenile macular degeneration, which is also called Stargardt's disease. Now, at age 9, 10, knowing you have an eye disease, not so scary, but we went back once a quarter to keep getting testing, because I was thinking, at the end of it, we'll get a pill or a pair of glasses or whatever to fix the problem. At the last meeting, they said, we thank you for your time, but there's nothing we can do for this eye disease. And I remember just feeling this dread, like, wait a minute, I'm not going to be a jet fighter pilot. I'm not going to race cars. I'm not going to go fast in life. My life. And I'm like 11 at this point. And I'm thinking, my life is over. And sure enough, because of the eye disease that we do have, there hasn't been a cure. And I'm now 59, and I've been legally blind since age 13 with this eye disease. So alcohol was my savior. It helped me on the weekends. It helped me pull away the fear, the fact that I'm less than you because I don't see well. And it just fed me that power I needed for many years. And I wasn't out of control until, I start all of a sudden in high school, I started blacking out here and there. Or I drank more than anticipated. Well, I always anticipated to feel better than I was feeling before I started. I mean, I love when the book says, we drink essentially for ease and comfort. You're not kidding. I needed ease and comfort. But of course, I have alcoholism. I don't know that, but there was something that switched on in me that said more. And even if, I shared a 12-pack with my buddy, I would be done with mine, and he would not. And I would say, is there any way I could have one of yours? He's like, well, you already drank all yours. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. Somebody's limiting. I needed it, and I don't know why he didn't, but I did. So You know, I struggled in school because I couldn't see the chalkboard. I struggled in school because I couldn't see the people. I struggled in school basically because I was full of fear. But I blamed it on God, the power of my misunderstanding. Like if there was one, even though I was an altar boy, I went to all private Catholic schools. I came from a good family. My parents well, my mother passed away, but they were married right up to the end. You know, we were a close family. We had lots of good parties and stuff, but there was never like issues like oh yeah, like lots of trauma or abuse, nothing. So, but there was alcoholism all throughout my family. I'm Catholic, I'm Irish, and lots of alcoholics. But it was never talked about. Not like it would have helped me to say, you know, at the age 14 when I got caught again for coming in stinking like booze, like, you know, you're headed down the wrong path, you really should. I would have been like, you're crazy. I have to do this. It's the only thing that gives me a little ease and comfort. And so, you know, that was my journey for a long time. And, you know, I didn't make it through college. I feared out of college. I feared out of sports. I feared out of everything in my life. But when I put alcohol in it, I was a different person. I was fun for a while, and then I could be mean. I could be blacked out. I mean, the progression of the illness was kicking in. Of course I did. All sorts of other things, too. And I made it up until my 20s. I hadn't been to a rehab, or I hadn't surrendered. I never asked for help. I just was lonely. Everyone else seemed to be going places in life. I still was living with my parents. What's wrong with me? Why am I so stupid? It's so not fair. I can't see. I can't drive a car legally. I can't do anything. And I believe that story. And it pummeled me. And I think, you know, I got an opportunity, and I went to bed, and the bed I had lied in for years. The bed I used to cry myself to sleep. The bed I used to say, please take me. Now, I don't believe in God, but I'm asking the God I don't believe in to take me. You know, if you really were there and you knew how much I was suffering, you wouldn't let me wake up in the morning, and then I would wake up. But outside of that life, that double life of suffering and self-hatred and a low self-esteem, I had friends. I did stuff. You know, it was like I could pretend to be okay around people. And then I would fall into my own, like, this is too hard on me. And you know, never knowing that I was setting the ball rolling. I was the creator of my suffer. I don't know anything. I think it's all outside of me. I think it's teachers, parents, anyone with authority, anyone with good eyesight, anything outside of me. Everybody has a better life than me, and everyone's luckier, and poor me. And now I know it when I get this opportunity, and I go to bed that night and I accept help for my eyesight. So I get some adaptive technologies, and I thrive in this business. I actually have a brain. I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm starting to sell. I'm selling all sorts of vehicles, motorcycles, boats, ATVs. And, you know, in 3 years I became part owner of that company. Me, the dumb blind guy that was never going to make it. But I had not treated alcoholism at all. And it came back. Well, it was always there. But my new drug was working. And it was like I was going to arrive as I am going to prove that I am a worthy man. And I got to that point. I had a home. I had a wife at this time now. I had all things going. And I needed more. And I started drinking at work once in a while, and I started doing other things. And eventually, I pulled the structure down over my head, and I ended up in my first rehab. And that was in Connecticut in 1996. I came out and I got sober. I went to AA. I went to this place that people allowed me to come in, and I was young. I was 29. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot older people here. You know, of course, maybe I don't have it as bad as they do. But what I did at that time also was I built a new company. Now, this one I'm building is for people with vision impairments. And so I built the second retail center in the United States, and I had a great center for people to come in and try out adaptive technologies so they could live as happy, joyous, and free as I wasn't. I mean, I was. And I did that for a while. And I was very successful. The company was doing millions of dollars, and I was making very good money. I had a happy wife, happy kids, a home. I had a boat. I had everything. And it wasn't enough. I'd been going to AA, a lot of AA, and I knew a lot of great people, but I hadn't started the program. See, I thought going to AA, making coffee, setting up chairs, back then we cleaned ashtrays, we did all that. I thought that was AA. And the meetings I was going to that's what I thought. But something was missing. It was my spiritual development wasn't there. I didn't really pray to a God because I kind of was still it. I had a successful business. I had money. I'm the legally blind guy. I remember thinking on my big 33-foot boat, I'm like, that's right, I have arrived. Uh-oh. And after 7 years of sobriety, I relapsed. And I only had one that night. And I remember thinking, maybe I don't have it because I don't want two. That phenomenon of craving didn't kick in. I don't want a second one. But I remember feeling my wife came down the next day with the kids, and I never told her because nothing happened. Why would I share about that? And so I'm lying. I'm needing more. I need a bigger boat. I need to make more money. I had a successful business. I had won awards. I employed 12 people, most of them blind. I was doing really good work out there, but it wasn't enough because I failed to enlarge my spiritual life. I was still trying outside of me to get happy, healthy, wealthy, joyous, and free. And it worked for a while, but then it stopped. And when I went back, I then went from alcohol to drugs again, and I pulled that structure. Now, I didn't put myself, but I went to 7 rehabs. Every time I came out, I went back into AA and tried. And no, it wasn't working. AA doesn't work. It's not for me. There must be another program out there because I have it way worse than you people. And I've sponsored a lot of men over the years, and I love it. They almost all think that way. I'm like, oh, yes, I'm sure you do. Keep coming. And anyway, I had it worse, so I don't think it's going to work. And I went to a meeting where it was a little different finally. Like, they were talking solution more than the hubcap on their car. Like, something was a little different. So, and I knew this one man that was in there, and I said, I keep relapsing, and I don't know why. Well, I don't know about the mental blank spot. I don't know if I can't bring in with sufficient force into my consciousness the humiliation, the harms done to other, the suffering, the emergency rooms, the rehabs, all the places I swore I would never do it again. And I didn't even like what I was doing anymore. I had to at times. Like, I could not control it. I couldn't control it when it wasn't in me, and obviously when it wasn't in me. And I said to him, I am so frustrated because I know better. He said, that isn't the solution to this program. I said, what stupid program? I was so frustrated. He said, well, would you like to talk more about doing the 12 steps? As I'm thinking, I know the steps. I hear them all the time. He's like, have you ever sat down and worked them as they're laid out in the big book? And I went, they're in the big book? No, I haven't done that. And so I found out what the AA program was all about. And it tore me down as a person in a good way, in a loving way, in a way that I got to see where I was full of me, only thought about me, blamed everyone, complained, rationalized, justified, made excuses all the time, never took responsibility because I was afraid. And this process showed me that I knew I had an addiction that I could not control. I knew a craving, something happened to me that I had an allergic reaction. But I really didn't understand the part where when I was sober, I picked up every time. And that's a part that really scared me. I knew there was a power within people, maybe me, I don't know yet, but I knew there was something out there in the universe, in the nature, I don't know. And, in step 3, I don't need to know how to turn my will and my life over when I'm getting well in the beginning. I just had to make a decision to try. And that's all he told me. And then I wrote. And I learned that I resent really me deeply. I am a loser. I can never seem to do anything right. And I projected that out onto people a lot. Like, thank God this July I'll be married 33 years to my wife still. God bless her. But we've come a long way spiritually together through this process. And anyway, I didn't understand. I didn't know. No life tools, no school, no parents, nobody told me anything about the condition of alcoholism, that it's a disease. I didn't drink personally, I had it. And I just activated it when I drank. And I believe that for me. But it doesn't go away. I can stay away from alcohol and drugs for a while, but I'm never cured of this disease. I do have a daily reprieve. And I know what that means now. I didn't know what that meant in the years I put together. And, so I go through this process and I learned that I am selfish. Okay, and I'm dishonest. I think, this meeting, like in the old days, I would be like, God, these guys, they should have been run. They should have had the materials. He should have read differently. She should wear less bright colors. I would have a judgment for everything, and I can't even see, and I had them. And it's like, that has just, I allow. I know each of us have a power, and we're living from it. This God of my understanding today came to me through me. But it would never have happened if I didn't clear out that pomp, that resentment, that bitterness, that judgment I had. And it was always, I saw the world as I was, which was miserable, which was those bedevilments. I was a prey to misery and depression. I never felt of use. I felt alone. I was full of fear. I didn't feel I had purpose. And then all of a sudden, this book started to show me where I could be. I found a new happiness, a new power, a new purpose, and a new way of life. And I mean, wow, what a powerful program designed for living. I have to speak it to my sponsor. Cuppy was there through a lot of my struggle. He's seen it. But I had to speak this out, the truth about, oh God, I did some really bad things. But why? I knew why. I wasn't a bad person. I was a sick man trying to live this game of life alone. And it was torture. So now I get to get help and be honest. And then I go out, I start knocking on doors, right? Sorry. But it wasn't that. It was, I knew how I had harmed you. And it was the most blessed process for me. I felt the nearness of my Creator setting into my life, so incredible. Is it God? I don't know. Is it a power greater than me? That I do know. And do I know if I'm calm and I'm relieved of the bondage of self, I'm asking for my difficulties to be removed? Does this power show His love, His way of life, or her way? Yes. Why am I okay? In the 10th step, it tells me that I will be in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. Because people are people. There's lots of events in life. I've had dogs die, mothers die, friends die. I've had a severe accident a year ago. Almost died because of a car hitting me. I wasn't even driving. And I could be resentful over that, and I'm not. That's got to be a power greater than me, because I would have built my whole let's get even story. I paid the dear price of suffering and reconstruction of my body and all that. But, because of these tools, I was able to accept. I was able to make a decision. I was able to commit to a program of recovery from my accident. I was able to ask for accountability. I was able to start serving the other people in the hospital and in the recovery center. and I was in Gaylord. I was able to do that. I've been back as a speaker. I mean, that's what AA gave me, because it told me, now that you're making your amends, you're more than halfway through, all of a sudden, people like Dave P. came up to me one day and said, "Will you sponsor me?" And it's like, what? I have that ability? Yes. Because I can help take people through the steps in the book. And I've had that since 2000, April 22nd, 2007 is my sobriety date. And it's really today, but that's what it's up to now. And I got to tell you, I was struggling so bad in the beginning that I said to my sponsor, this stuff doesn't work. I see it working for everybody, but everyone's happy and I'm not. And he said, well, you got to keep doing the work. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Do it for me. Tell me the secret cliff notes. Get me well. And I over all the years, I had ants running around, automatic negative thoughts. This is never going to work. I never do anything right. People stink. I'm no good. I'm not going to. You're stupid at that. Why bother anyway? I did all those kinds of things. But we have brain plasticity. We can change that and trigger new thoughts. I have a lot more healthier thoughts now. So when my sponsor, I went and I first started going to soup kitchens and serving. That's when I was just writing my fourth step. And then I started a meeting at Greg Street Shelter on Monday nights. I would read step 1, 2, and 3 out of the big book every week, every Monday. And I did it for 5 years. I don't know how many of them got sober, but I stayed sober. See, the book told me when I feel I'm having a harder time, throw myself the harder into working with others. And that's really why I'm able to still sit with you today. I have a sponsee right now that I'm still working with on a weekly basis, working through his step 4. And when that guy disappears, and I hope not, but I mean into where he's starting to help others, someone else will come up and ask me. That's where God has me placed, where this program is working with others, because that's where he sees me fit most than running different committees and stuff. But we all have our place in this program if we do the work, I think. So, yeah, this has been, I get up and I do 11 in the morning. I review my 24 hours ahead. But when I go to bed at night, I constructively review my day, where I've been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid. I studied and I memorized the book because I can't see it. And I would use a magnifier, but I said, I have a brain. And I can do this, and I want to memorize it so I can just step into it during the day when I'm agitated, doubtful, when I'm having trouble making a decision based on self. Then I remember, is this a win-win for everyone involved? Maybe, and I'm like, wow, I love this stuff, because my life, I'm working on another company right now. I've got my beautiful wife. I wrote a book. I mean, I've done all sorts of things that most dumb blind kids with a high school degree don't do. But there is no such as a dumb blind kid. That's only a thought. I don't believe it anymore. I'm really grateful to be with you. I don't know if that's my time, but Cuppy told me to go into overdrive because he knows I might have a lot to say at times, because I'm passionate and I'm internally grateful for what this program has done for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
American Alcoholic.
Yeah.
Come on.
Thank you so much, Charlie. I identified with a lot. It really hit me when you talked about your time now leading up to your relapse. And I had 6 years and went out, and I solely relied on the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous to keep me sober, and it was everything on the outside. It was the job, it was the girlfriend, it was the apartment that I looked at the 12 steps. They were on the wall, but I didn't incorporate them in my life. And I recently had an anniversary, and it brought me back, listening to you to when I came back in, I come back in with that gift of desperation. Yeah. And I knew, and you talked about it, I had to do everything differently. Yeah. I had to invite that higher power into my life. I had to stop being God, and I had to work the steps. And you have an incredible message. I want to thank Cuppy for getting you in here tonight, and we have plenty of time for others to share. Thanks again, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks. Hello, my name's Dave. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey,
Hello, Dave.
It's good to be here tonight. I just wanted to say I really appreciate you speaking because I've heard you speak many times, but usually never this calmly. You know, you seem to tone it down a little bit. And I was going to ask, are we on TV?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And I just wanted to say that, you know, I remember when I asked you to sponsor me. My first time I came into AA was approximately 13 years ago, and I came in. I was very sick, and I came in, and I remember my first sponsor. You know, he just told me to write down my life story, and I did my fifth step in about 45 minutes, and it didn't seem to work too good for me. But my second sponsor, I tried to do it through the big book, but I had so many deep-seated resentments. I remember I got to my third one, and I was just very, very upset, angry, and so-and-so. But then I remember meeting you at a speaker meeting after I got out of the hospital for the second time. And I remember you told a joke, and you said something about someone came up to you and said, "Oh, I got a scratch on my Mercedes and I mixed my box of wine." And I laughed for the first time probably in a year. And I went up to you and I said, "Would you be my sponsor?" And I'm so glad that I did because, you know, you taught me so much in the last 10 and a half years. And my life's never been better. I sponsor people. I'm very active in AA. I'm working with a guy now, and I wonder sometimes, why does God put these people into my life? And, you know, the answer is because it's like a big circle. You know, I remember the time when you, me, my sponsee, and the guy that he was sponsoring was in the same room. And I think that's what the whole fellowship's all about. You know, it's like a big circle, and that's all I got tonight. It's really good to be here. Thank you.
Thanks,
Dave.
I'm Cuppy. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Cuppy.
Hi, Cuppy.
I'm grateful that I got to be with you tonight. I've known you for a long time. I met you in Cheshire when I moved to Meriden in 1990, and so I've seen you in and I've seen you through it. I know when you've been in. I know when you've been out. But where you are now, it's such a beautiful thing, and that's why I knew other people would appreciate what you've been through and the way you're able to share it with others. Yeah, you've got a gift. You definitely have, and you have you share it. It's not something that you hold on to. And I know we've had mutual friends throughout the years. Mickey has been, you know, he'll be going 2 years, but he was one of the guys that gave us those moments when nobody else could. He was there to listen to what we had to say. I'm grateful that you came tonight, and I hope that we're able to do more things just like this because it's beneficial to anybody that gets to hear what you have to say. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cup.
Peter, alcoholic.
Hi, Peter.
Live is over. Charlie, thank you for sharing. I heard you speak before. I met you in Cheshire at that meeting. You know, talking about you wanted everybody to do it for you, and the same thing. You know, until we actually did the work. And there's one line that says, you know, the spiritual tools were laid at my feet. I had to pick them up and ask somebody how to learn how to use them. Thanks for helping me stay one more day.
But I just want to thank Charlie again for coming out and speaking. And we'll close with the responsibility statement. I am
responsible when anyone, anywhere, reaches out for help.
I want
the hand of AA always to be there.
And
For that, I am responsible.